Good evening and welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, December 15, 2025. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Health Promotions Officer at the Ministry of Health, Shanika John, is warning members of the public to remain vigilant as a new strain of influenza continues to circulate in the country. Speaking recently on the radio during the program highlighting activities organized by the Ministry of Health, John reminded the public that influenza remains rampant, particularly during the current season, when respiratory illnesses tend to increase.
If you go back a couple of weeks, we did advise persons to be on the lookout because we saw it already. So this bad flu, this bad cold that people are saying is really horrible, whatever. It could be that that they've been infected with the new strain, and this is also why we're encouraging persons to go to their health center so that they can get tested. Because when you go and you get tested is when we're able to make a decision to say, well, this is what we have present right now. We also know that it's the period where people travel into the country a lot, and so by traveling, that also opens up doors for other things to happen. And so we really just want people to just be mindful.
John cautioned against treating influenza as an ordinary cold, noting that symptoms can worsen if left unattended. She advised that individuals experiencing flu-like symptoms should first seek medical attention at their nearest district clinic rather than going directly to the emergency department at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, except in severe cases.
You go about dealing with this. If you're not getting better after 3 days, you need to see a healthcare provider. So if you're constantly coughing, the fever is not going anywhere, especially in children, especially in older persons, especially in people who are pregnant. If after, a matter of fact, I wouldn't even say go to 3 days for those persons. I would say after 24 to 48 hours, nothing has improved, you need to see a doctor. You need to go to the health center or you need to get in touch with your general practitioner. Of course, this is not the time for us to be going to accident and emergency, which is at A&E, unless you feel like you're in some sort of distress. Because then the accident and emergency, which is really designed for emergency situations, might not have your ranking as an emergency. So we ask you to go to your district clinic during the day, during the time, or see your private physician if that's a preference of yours, so that you can get assessed, you can get the necessary medications that you need, and you might be on your way. Please do not stay home all day, and then when it comes in the night, when you tend to not be feeling the best, you try to go to accident and emergency and then say you're not getting seen, because there might be 2 or 3 emergencies happening at the same time, Johnny, and according to the triage, that's not a priority.
She also reminded the public not to self-diagnose or self-medicate, as doing so can delay proper treatment and increase the risk of complications.
Persons who are asthmatic, those persons who may have difficulty breathing, those persons who may have difficult tightness in the chest and so forth. I'm talking about the people who may be coughing, have a runny nose and have a slight headache, and then you're waiting to go to accident and emergency. We really discourage that at this time, just to make sure that we have a little bit more efficiency in terms of how we turn over the patients there at that particular department. Just about to say, do not assume that just because somebody had it and somebody else, that it means that you got it. I mean, this is all something that you need to monitor, especially parents who have children in preschool. I mean, you can talk to the preschoolers in terms of preschool teachers, in terms of like what's happening in the school. Do they have more than one children who are ill at this time?
Meanwhile, as part of activities for the Christmas season, the Ministry of Health will be conducting outreach programs in several communities, including Kingstown, Richland Park, and Fitzhugh. These outreaches are aimed at promoting health education, early detection, and general wellness during the festive period. The ministry is also encouraging citizens to stay well hydrated, get adequate rest, and continue practicing good hygiene habits throughout the holidays to reduce the spread of influenza and other illnesses. The journey toward development for all is not a race, but one that must be taken together. That message came from newly appointed Minister of Education, Vocational Training, Innovation, and Digital Transformation, Philip Jackson, as he addressed the closing ceremony of a capacity building project aimed at strengthening inclusive education and supporting students with special education needs. The ceremony was held at the Fairhall Government School.
And what better example of that than exactly what you're doing right here at the Fairhall Government School. And I would like to recognize all the various stakeholders who participated. I learned from my reading that Ambassador Luan Gilchrist, recognizing what you are already doing, and that's important, because you are already telling a good story about how you see yourselves on behalf of your children. And she recognizing that story, using the power of her network, engaged others. And we're happy that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, hearing about that story, was impressed and encouraged to say, I want to be a partner in this beautiful thing that's blooming in Fairhall. And they came on board. And I want to thank them publicly and recognize their contribution. But there's a tremendous story there. And it says that when we're excited about what we do, and when we take ownership of what we're doing, and when we tell a good story about what we're doing, others will notice, and they will come on board, and they will give their assistance.
Minister Jackson noted that in an age where technology allows for easy documentation and sharing of information, teachers and school leaders at the Fairhall Government School must take full advantage of these tools. He challenged them to learn as much as possible, document their experiences, and share their knowledge gained through the Inclusive Education Capacity Building Project.
We are now disciples of a thrust in inclusive education in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I want you to take your discipleship role seriously. And as we tell and continue to tell beautiful stories, the resources would come, because these stories would capture the attention of persons with goodwill who are willing to become part of that story. And to our parents, the very important stakeholders. I know some of you, sometimes parents, they're very sensitive about, how their children are first described and then treated. But I want to tell you, all God's children are beautiful. We are aware that just like there are diversity in our physical makeup, our color, our hair texture, our race, our body size, there's also what you know better than I do as neurodiversity. But in that diversity, there's a unity, because we're all God's creation. So parents, embrace your children. Embrace your children. Embrace what the school is doing, because the information you get from the assessment that the professionals are doing will help you to help the professionals help your child better.
Referencing a personal experience on the campaign trail, Jackson spoke of encounters with two parents who said it cost approximately $800 to have a child assessed, and informed that the child was on the autism spectrum. He stressed that going forward, parents should not be burdened with such high costs just to obtain the proper assessments for their children.
In order for us to be effective and responsive, we have to make sure that we are doing the proper assessment early enough in a systematic way, so that we can make the right interventions at the right time. And I like your approach, your systematic approach. You do your assessment, you see what's possible, you make an intervention, you assess again, and you make further interventions and escalate as you go along. That's beautiful. As a scientist, I understand very well the importance of a systematic approach. So let us sum it up. I want us to get accustomed when we speak about ourselves, because when we speak, the Bible says that God spake and it was done. He commanded and it stood fast. Words have power to create. Everything you see in the physical universe, and even in our relationships with each other, they were created by the power of the word. and how you speak about yourselves and how you speak about each other and to each other creates the reality through which we emerge and develop and blossom. So, going forward, we shall not be speaking of an education system or an education sector. We shall be speaking of an education service.
Meanwhile, Deputy Chief Education Officer Joycelyn Blake Brown, in her remarks at the closing ceremony, acknowledged that the journey toward inclusive education is a challenging one, but emphasized that it is well worth the effort.
Inclusion in education encompasses various models that aim to integrate all students, regardless of their abilities or backgrounds, into general education. That's one view of inclusive education. Secondly, inclusive education refers to the practice of integrating all students, regardless of their abilities, background, disabilities, into mainstream educational setting, ensuring equitable access to quality education for everyone. Thirdly, inclusive education allows students of all backgrounds to learn and grow side by side to the benefit of all. And I somehow like the final one. And I remember looking at the emblem, the crest. You look at your crest, you can't look down at that crest. You see this, yes, students, you see them? Different colors, maybe different sizes, yes. In the same school, from the same community. I imagine walking from home to school. Can you remember those days? When we walked from home to our neighborhood schools, you know, we had more fun walking to and from school than what we actually had in school. You remember those days? Yes, that is what inclusion is all about. Staying at a school in your community. Now, I know some persons are looking at what is happening at Fair Hall and thinking.
She noted that the Inclusive Education Initiative at the Fair Hall Government School was implemented as a pilot project and said it is the ministry's intention to roll out similar programs in other primary and secondary schools across the country. Over the course of the project, teachers, education officers and parents were equipped with a new knowledge and practical skills to help create more inclusive and supportive learning environments both at school and at home. As part of the initiative, the Fair Hall Government School was also outfitted with new special education resources designed to enhance teaching and learning, ensuring that students with diverse abilities are able to participate meaningfully in classroom activities. Comptroller of the Inland Revenue Department, Kelvin Pompey, has provided further clarity on what the public can expect on Friday's VAT-free day, the first initiative of its kind to be held in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Pompey addressed several of the most frequently asked questions from consumers during an interview on NBC Radio this morning. He emphasized that only businesses registered to collect a value-added tax or VAT are permitted to participate in VAT-free day. Pompey explained that it will not be practical for non-VAT registered businesses to be involved, as the initiative is specifically designed to provide relief from VAT charges.
There are persons who may expect that wherever you go, you expect to see a zero VAT. But if the business is not previously registered for VAT, remember, only businesses that have sales in excess of $300,000 for a year are registered for VAT.
Right.
So if your sales are below that, then you would not be registered for VAT, and therefore you would be in no position to give a VAT-free day or for things like that. So I want to let consumers know, shoppers know, that businesses that are not in the VAT net, that previously would not have charged you VAT, would not be giving you any VAT free on Friday the 19th, because they don't collect VAT in the first place.
The Comptroller also highlighted the importance of consumer vigilance, urging shoppers to pay close attention to prices and receipts to ensure they are genuinely benefiting from the VAT-free initiative.
The VAT-free day is geared towards tangible physical goods. That is, it excludes services. So services are not VAT-free on the 19th. But if you go in any retail merchandising, any supermarket, any store, all of the items in those establishments would be VAT-free, save and except cigarette, tobacco and tobacco-related products, arms and ammunitions, and motor vehicles. So motor vehicles, arms and ammunitions, as well as tobacco and tobacco-related products, those would not be VAT-free on the 19th. But any other item, tangible item, that is things you can see and feel and touch, those will be VAT-free come the 19th.
Additionally, Pompey noted that while there are no laws prohibiting businesses from adjusting prices on VAT-free day, the Inland Revenue Department, in collaboration with the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, will be closely monitoring commercial activity. He warned that some individuals may attempt to exploit the initiative and said authorities stand ready to address any unfair or deceptive practices.
I mean, it is possible that a business person may look and say, okay, persons are going to get a 16% or so a reduction in their price. So let me carry it up a little. I mean, when we met with the private sector, I think there was widespread overall commitment and buying to the VAT-free from the private sector. And I think I sense and I heard from business people who, in my assessment and my interaction with the private sector in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, are hardworking, honest professionals and who are fully committed to ensuring that the benefit of the VAT-free day, which is to pass monies on back to the consumer, that particular objective is.
Pompey urged both businesses and consumers to act responsibly, stressing that cooperation is key to ensuring VAT-free day achieves its intended purpose of delivering meaningful savings to the public. And a significant increase in port activity has resulted in the full utilization of all national port facilities, according to Chief Executive Officer of the Modern Port Operations, Carl James. Speaking on radio recently, James explained that the rise in cargo volumes have necessitated expanded operational measures to meet growing demand. James noted that due to the high levels of activity being recorded, all 4 ports are now fully operational. He said this approach ensures that the increased volume of cargo is managed efficiently while preventing congestion at any single facility.
A significant increase in cargo, which is essentially numbers that under the old operating design, we would have already spread out into Geest, etc. It was a lot, and we had to make maneuvers to reopen Geest, reopen Camden Park, because you had so many boxes that in order for us to catch up, we had to spread the operations out as wide as possible. So this is the first year that we operate in 4 locations as compared to 3. So
4 as in?
Remember, we normally have Camden Park, Geest, and the main location in Kingston. So now we have all of those plus the new location. So based on the volumes we're having and the way the cargo played out in November, recognize that we needed to expand a bit more, take on staff, and spread the operations out so that we can accommodate as many customers as possible.
He further explained that each port operates as a one-stop shop, allowing customers to access all required services at a single location without having to move between ports. According to James, this model saves time and enhances the overall customer experience.
We reopened Camden Park, the Geest location, and Kingston Uptown are now also processing containers in addition to the existing location. So all of these locations are essentially set up as a one-stop shop, meaning you go to these locations and you do all the transactions. So it's not that you go to Geest, you have a cargo inspected, and you go over to the main compound or elsewhere to do a payment transaction. Each location is a self-sufficient location where you go, have the cargo examined, pay your duties and whatever other fees there are, have your cargo loaded, and you could leave.
Additionally, James revealed that a strategic separation of cargo has been implemented to better serve different customer groups by organizing cargo according to type and customer needs. Both authorities are able to provide adequate services while maintaining smooth and uninterrupted operations across all facilities.
When you go to your shipping agent or your consolidator, they would give you the document and they will also inform you which location you go to, whether it's the Geese location, the main
Camden Park or
Kingston or Camden Park location, right? The thing is though, when you come to the modern port operations company, there's a little something that I want to clarify. Now you could access that location by through McCoy Street, enter the road coming to the port. You could exit at Hillsborough Street or at Melville Street. You could enter and exit at Melville. Now, when you enter at McCoy Street, half the way
those
up
who don't know, that's at the end of the street.
yeah,
with Miss
Black
Brewster.
Cat Bar next to
Right.
North River Road, right? So when you are on that road, about half the way up, you will see a little parking lot in front of a warehouse.
Okay.
That is where personal effects would be dealt with. That is the boxes and barrels coming to persons who imported it for Christmas. If you're a commercial cargo and you're doing an entry, then you have to go further up the stretch to the main admin building, and the transactions are processed in the entry space in that location.
James said the expanded use of all ports along with streamlined services and improved cargo management is expected to maintain operational efficiency as port activities continues to increase. Welcome back. Hundreds of people turned out last evening at Heritage Square for the official launch of the 9 Mornings Festival. The launch kicked off with a colorful parade of community groups through the streets of capital Kingston. Under the theme, Stop Yawning, We Go in 9 Mornings. Speaking at the launch, Prime Minister Dr. Godwin Friday used the opportunity to call for togetherness during the festive season, urging citizens to put aside their differences.
Friends in your community, come out and enjoy what you put on. Because not everything that you do for money. Sometimes you do because you love to do it. And because it is important for building that spirit of community. We just came through a very long election campaign. Elections tend to pull us apart as a people. There is nothing that brings us together better than the Christmas spirit. And so I am hoping that we will take this spirit of Christmas and bring all of our better natures together. Encourage our friends and our neighbors to put things aside that we can put aside and reach for those things that hold us together as a community. If you feel good saying hi to somebody you didn't say hi to before, just do it. Don't try to remember the thing that stopped you from doing it before. You know what I'm talking about. And this is the time to do it. You'll be surprised. People will embrace it because it is the Christmas spirit.
Dr. Friday added that unity should not be limited to the Christmas season, but should be practiced throughout the year. He underscored the importance of volunteerism, noting that everyone has a role to play in the development of the country. The Prime Minister also encouraged citizens to reflect on the true meaning of Christmas.
And some people will come once in a while. We will have people who come from the diaspora to come home to take part in this event. We have people who are visiting our shows for the first time. As I said last night under the almond tree, whether you are a visitor, you are somebody who come from any other part of the country to celebrate, we are all one people. We are God's people. And remember what the season here is about. It's about celebrating Christ. And that is what brings us here together. We must live within that spirit. I want to say as well to the people who are putting the effort in, I know how much hard work it is. Keep doing it. The community appreciates it.
Meanwhile, Minister of Culture Kashaka Cupid said that the Christmas festival in St. Vincent and the Grenadines remains unique and pledged to further develop this distinctive Vinci-style Christmas tradition. He noted that over the decades, the Christmas tradition has continued to evolve and reaffirm his full commitment to seeing the festival expand and grow.
It's us that culture is just not a distant and abstract idea, but also a way to honor the past while embracing the future. As Minister of Culture, it fills me with pride to witness the continued growth of this tradition. And I assure you this evening, that I will certainly do my part to encourage further growth and innovation in this festive tradition. It warms my heart to see the youths in the crowd, because the continuity of 9 mornings depends on us and our efforts to introduce to new generations.
Minister Cupid stated that a variety of activities will be rolled out across communities and urged the public to come out and support the 9 mornings festivities.
Promises to deliver vibrant, diverse, and spirit-filled activities, from music to dance, from lighting competitions to community breakfasts, from spiritual reflections to children's activities. There will be something for everyone. If you could cry on demand or carry your own key, 9 mornings is where you will want to be. Performers, volunteers, and cultural practitioners, your talent and dedication are the heartbeat of this festival. Thank you for giving of your time, your creativity, and your passion. To you, the audience, come out each morning, support your community programs, celebrate with pride, and show each other the love that we have in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
This year's festival is sponsored by the National Lotteries Authority to the tune of 300,000 EC dollars. And the Central Police Station grounds came alive on Friday night as the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force hosted the 2025 Police Christmas Caroling Competition. A news release from the SVG-PF cells from the opening performance to the final announcement. The competition reflected weeks of preparation, healthy rivalry, and a shared commitment to preserving a tradition that has endured for more than 20 years. The junior category featured confident, well-rehearsed performances, with the Spring Village Police Youth Club successfully retaining their title as overall winners. Tubbs Police Youth Club and Sandy Bay Police Youth Club shared second place, while the Kittels Police Youth Club secured third place. The award for Best Dressed Junior Choir was presented to the Tubbs Police Youth Club, whose presentation reflected strong coordination and attention to detail. The senior category emerged as a major highlight of the evening, with each choir bringing a distinct song and stage presence. The Traffic Angels, the defending champions, once again rose to the occasion and retained their overall title, delivering performances defined by discipline, creativity, and strong vocal execution. The Rapid Response Unit, the RRU, placed second overall, while the CID Crime Busters secured third place. Additional awards included Best Dressed Senior Choir Traffic Angels, Best Speech Crime Busters. In the category performances, Traffic Angels led the traditional song segment, while Crime Busters claimed the top spot in the original song category. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security Major Sinclair Leacock, along with the Commissioner of Police Enville Williams, commended the participating choirs, coordinators, corporate sponsors, and members of the public for their role in the success of the event. Both leaders noted that the Police Christmas Caroling Competition continues to serve as an important platform for unity, morale, and positive engagement, while strengthening the relationship between the police and the wider community during the Christmas season.